Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Arabic Khatawaat. In this video, we're going to learn how to conjugate Arabic verbs, more particularly irregular verbs. In the previous video, we introduced verbs with alif, hollow verbs as part of the category of irregular verbs. In this video, we're going to introduce a different set. This set of verbs indicates a long vowel at the end, which we know in Arabic as Alif MaQsoura. The difference between Alif MaQsoura and Ya is that the Ya has two dots, but Alif MaQsoura does not have any dot, and you still pronounce it as if you're saying Alif. It would be a long A. The verbs that we have selected for today are anha, and most likely in some scripts or fonts you'll find that little tiny dash that will indicate it's a long alif or long vowel, saying which is alif maqsoura. Anha. This verb means complete. Then we have rama, throw, and qada, spend, pass, or execute. We have a set of verbs that we will conjugate. That way we can see how they all change the same way Alif did in the past video. If you'd like to learn more about words with Alif, please check the video of hollow verbs in Arabic. So let's begin. Before we go to the second category, I'd like you to review these verbs. These are the irregular verbs we introduced in the video with alif. As you can see, qala, sama, nama, khafa, ja'a. We said that these have 3 letters, and I am reintroducing a new set with verbs that have more than 3 letters. As you can see here, hawala, to try, it has 4 letters. So it's fi'al ruba'i, it's a 4-letter verb. And in this case, alif does not change. So basically, like we said with nama and khafa, these two do not change. Yuhawilu, hawala, it will apply, or you will apply the exact same rule, which is keeping the alif. Let's see examples with alif maqsoura. And the verbs that I've selected for today, I'm just going to add that little tiny dagger or dash that will indicate it's alif maqsoura, not a ya. Again, it does not have any dots. The verbs that we've selected are anha. So here, if I write nha, that's the base verb in the past. He ended. In the present tense, we'll apply the exact same strategy, which is determining the I, ana, because both masculine and feminine can say this verb, so it's advised to just begin the conjugation by determining the I form. In this case, I will write an, ha, and watch how this is going to change. The alif maqsoura actually becomes a ya. أنهيت. أنهيت. I ended in the past. When I say the present, which is what we're doing now, I will say أنهي. أنهي. O, n, he, I end, and it will keep the exact same yeah, whether you're doing it in the past or in the present. But we're focusing more on the present. That's why I'd like you to see how the alif maqsoura over here becomes a ya in all of these verbs that end with alif maqsoura. We'll look at a few more examples again. So I will take my second verb is algha, cancel. And I will adapt the exact same strategy where I will say I cancel. And I would keep ul ألغي ألغي. And you can see that I change the Alif MaQsoura to become a Ya. You can tell that when I say Alif MaQsoura, it is a long vowel A, and when I say Ya, it's a long vowel E. Just the dots and that little tiny dash over here, or little tiny stick that we put on the Alif MaQsoura, indicates the length of this letter. So ألغي, I cancel. I would say the next one is I throw. I'll keep the ya. All of them will have the ya. And I will say أرمي. أرمي, I throw. Then I would say أمشي, I walk. أمشي, I walk. So we'll try to put the three dots right on sheen, just like that. That way we don't keep them off that shape of sheen. So أمشي, أمشي, I walk. I could do the exact same strategy like I did before, where I love playing with the verb conjugation, because you can visually determine how the verb changes, and it's more of a very nice way of acquiring the proper way to spell verbs or verb conjugation in Arabic. So I'll say I, which is أنا, then I'll say أنت, أنتي, هو, and هي, and we'll learn what these subject pronouns mean, which is I, you masculine, you feminine, and he. It does not hurt to keep reviewing these every single time. This is all acquired information, and the more you practice, the more you will retain these vocabularies. So what I would do is I will use only one verb as my sample, and I'll use أنهى, which means to end and also to complete. Both of them are synonyms. So I would say أنا أنهي, أنت تو, أنتي, إين, and I'm only putting the prefixes and suffixes. هو, يا, هي, ت. Then I will put the base verb, which is نها, أنهي, تنهي, تنهين, and I'll keep two. تنهين هو ينهي, and هي تنهي. I'll put the short or just the long vowel, I should say, the ya, and here I'll just mark it, ya again, yunhi, and then tunhi. As you can see, this is just another way to visually memorize the short cases. Every time I conjugate a verb to the first person, I determine the pattern all of the rest subject pronouns will follow, even when it comes to short cases. And you can see that all of them will have dhamma, sukun, kasra, dhamma, sukun, kasra. There is a kasra here, and then dhamma, sukun, kasra. The kasra always takes place before a ya. So this goes for all the other words as well, because ya here is a long vowel. I can go on with algha, and then rama, and qada, and masha. So I can determine how the verb is conjugated in the first person, and I would say unhi over here, and then I would say ulghi, I cancel, and then rama and qada and masha would have the exact same short cases. So I would say mi, then aqdi, and then amshi. The moment you determine the short cases over here, like for Rama and Qada and Mesha, you have أرمي أقضي أمشي. And of course we said that all of them will have kasra before the ya. Now we're going to look at all of these verbs, or actually just a few of them, by comparing the ones with alif and the ones with ya and looking at a few examples. So let's begin. Now as we look at both verbs that have alif in the middle and the one that has alif MaQsoura at the end, we can determine how they would change when we conjugate them in the present tense. So this is just a review to look at sama, nama, khafa, and ba'a. So we would say, I fast Ramadan, asumu. Here we have the alif became waw, and then anamu. So asumu Ramadan, anamu bakiran. I sleep early. So the alif didn't change. And then we have, I sell good products. أبيع بضاعة جيدة. أبيع أو أبيع. And then here we have the alif change to become ya. Let's look at this set now, where we have alif MaQsoura, which is not a ya, but when it changes, it becomes an actual ya, which is pronounced as a long vowel, pulling the sound before it. So with the verb anha, I would say unhi, I complete, unhi الواجب كل يوم, I complete the homework كل يوم. And I'm using the homework as a reference to alif lam in Arabic, which is the. أنهي الواجب كل يوم. Then we have I am canceling. This is the present continuous in English. Here we're using ألغي الاجتماع. الاجتماع. I'm canceling the meeting. Most of the examples that would use the present continuous in English will use the future in Arabic, which is سألغي. And the future in Arabic would have sa, which is a short form for سوف. Every time we're thinking of sa, just think of apostrophe, double L, and سوف as the full form of will. So this is the short form, sa, and then the long form, سوف, to indicate future. But we're using the future here to say I'm canceling the meeting. سألغي الاجتماع. The example of ألغي الاجتماع could be used if someone is asking you, what are you doing now? ماذا تفعل الآن? أنا ألغي الاجتماع. I'm canceling the meeting right now. أنا ألغي الاجتماع الآن. So this could be an example to use in reference of an actual action that's taking place in the middle of the conversation, like ماذا تفعل الآن? What are you doing now? I am canceling the meeting. أنا ألغي الاجتماع. But if you're referring to the future, you would use سألغي الاجتماع. The third example we have, we're using third person, هو. And then هو would be he بالإنجليزية. He throws the ball to his brother. يرمي الكرة لأخيه. This could be also translated to a present continuous in English by saying, sorry, I should be using his. There we go. His throwing the ball to his brother. So his throwing would be هو يرمي الكرة لأخيه, meaning an actual action that's taking place right away during a conversation. ماذا يفعل؟ هو يرمي الكرة لأخيه. So in the upcoming videos, what we're going to be doing is look at how easy actually Arabic irregular verbs are compared to English. أو الأفعال المعتلة. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you inshallah in the upcoming videos. Assalamu alaikum.